Hey everybody, this is FireDog529. This is a response to Creekbed01, who asked a question related to my last video about burns and what not to do. He's asking specifically about chemical burns and if I guess the aloe vera or the other burn products would be good for the treatment of chemical burns. And the best answer I could give him was yes and no. There's a little bit more to it than what I could answer in a simple comment, so I told him I'd make him another video about it. There's three different types of burns. For our purposes, there's three different types of burns: thermal, chemical, and electrical. Thermal is any kind of heat-related burn. Chemical is any kind of material that reacts with your skin to cause a burn. Now, it may or may not create heat when it makes the chemical reaction. If it does create heat, that's really the least of your worries. The fact that it's reacting with your skin or with your tissue is what's causing the burn. And electrical, that's pretty self-explanatory. For our purposes, we're just going over the thermal and chemical. The aloe vera, the plant, the gel, the shaving cream. Somebody else mentioned toothpaste. Toothpaste is an absolute last resort because it can have some tendencies to hold the heat in also. But the aloe vera, if you immediately apply aloe vera to a thermal burn, you're going to have good results. It stops the burning process and draws the heat out and helps with the healing process. Chemical is a little bit different story. With a chemical burn, you have got to flush the affected area to remove the chemical to stop the burning process. But that doesn't apply to every chemical. That's why I was explained to him that this would be a difficult one to answer in the comments. So my daughter loaned me her easel so I could borrow that to put on this presentation, I guess you could say. There are multiple types of chemicals. The best suggestion I have for anyone is to get an emergency response guidebook, an ERG. They make different ones, or they come out with new ones every so often. I think the most recent one was 2010. I'm sure everybody's seen it, and if you don't think you have, if you did see it, you'd probably say, oh, that's it. It's the orange books that they're small enough to fit in your glove box. The pages are all color-coded. There's a blue section, a yellow section, a white section. But basically it has a list of most any type of chemical that's going to be transported up and down the highway. You can look it up either by placard number, by chemical name, various ways to look it up, and then it'll tell you what page to flip to, and it'll give you what it reacts to, if there's any kind of specific neutralizing agents or flash points, all that kind of good information about it. So the best suggestion I have is to get you one of those to know what specific chemical you're dealing with and what kind of reactions that it has. I will go over a few specific chemicals just to kind of give you an example of what the different treatments, I guess you could say, would be for them. The three chemicals I'm going to go over specifically are petroleum, ammonia, and alkali metals. There's thousands and thousands and thousands. There's no way I could possibly go over every single one of them. But these are going to be more common ones that you may see a chemical burn related to. Now petroleum, that's going to be any petroleum-based product. Gasoline, diesel, anything like that. In the absence of a flame, petroleum products can still cause a burn when they come in contact with human tissue. Now the treatment for that is fairly simple. You flush the affected area with copious amounts of water, and when you think you've used enough water, use some more. That will cleanse the area of the chemical and help stop the burning process. Now with ammonia, that's a cleaning agent. It's basically the same as petroleum. Flush it with water, remove all the chemical, and stop the burning process. I listed alkali metals on here because it's an interesting one, in that alkali metals react with water. So these two are liquids, and this one's going to be a solid. It may come in different forms of a solid, but it's going to be a solid. If you or your patient have been exposed to that and it gets on the skin, and then you go to pour water on it, water reacts with it, making the burn 100 times worse, and you probably just killed your patient or yourself, depending on the severity. So what do you do? The most simplest way to put it is get rid of it. Sweep it away. Use a dry cloth. If it's a chunk of metal on their skin, remove it off. Don't touch it with your bare hands. But after you've sufficiently swept away all of the solid material, then you can start flushing the affected area with water. Like I said, when you think you've used enough water to flush it, use some more. And use clean water. The number one cause of death in a burn is secondary infection. So if you have an open wound from a burn that you're cleaning with dirty ditch water, that person's probably going to die, or you're going to die. Use the cleanest water you have. If you have to, hopefully you've got clean water on hand. You don't necessarily want to take the time to boil water to put out somebody who's on fire. That's not what I'm getting at. Get the cleanest water you can, flush the site, and then after the site is sufficiently flushed and cleared of any kind of chemical and the burning process has stopped, that's when you can start your application of aloe vera. And the aloe vera will help heal the burn. Minbound also suggested, I believe it's called Silvadine ointment, and I may be wrong on that. Don't crucify me if I am, but that's another good ointment for the healing process of burns. But like I said, after the burn's over with, burns are painful, they hurt, but you've got to watch out for infection, more specifically on your second and third degree burns. Your first degree burns are like your sunburn. Second degree is called partial thickness. You'll get blisters. It'll make it through the first layer of skin. And third degree is all the way down to where it actually burns nerve endings and things like that. But the second and third is where you've got to worry about the infections, because the skin actually breaks and things can get in, your bacteria and your parasites. So clean the wounds, or clean the burn with water first, if it's appropriate. If it's not appropriate, if it reacts with water, brush the substance away with a dry cloth, whatever you've got on hand, and completely remove it before you flush it with water. And then after it's sufficiently flushed, then apply the aloe vera. And remember, everything I'm telling you in this video is my opinion based on my experience. This is not by any means medical advice or medical guidance. It's for informational purposes only. And again, this is only for suggestions for an SHTF scenario, a raw situation, when there are no hospitals and doctors available. If you get a burn now, call 911, let the trained professionals do their jobs. Don't try to treat this kind of stuff at your house based on what I'm saying. And it's stupid that I have to have a disclaimer on here, but that's the times we live in. So anyway, to recap, the best advice I can give you is to get the big orange, or the little orange, ERG, Emergency Response Guidebook, to tell you what chemicals react with what and if there are neutralizing agents for them. Creekbed01, I hope this answers your question, buddy. If not, let me know, and I'll try to do you a better job. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Y'all take care.